If you guys don't know who this man is, Jordan Welch, he is a man who has inspired millions of people. He has almost a million subscribers on his YouTube channel. He has had a software company. He's already generated $3 million. He's just sold his Shopify brand for a lot of money.
I cleaned tables, I picked up after people, I washed dishes, I carried food. I made a promise to myself that I was never going to work another job. And the month after, we had did over $100,000 a month.
You know, all they take nowadays is like a nice card they lease for like a day, take a bunch of photos, and then done. Boom, coach!
My business partner and I had a big disagreement, and his response to it was take out all the money from the bank account, transfer it to his personal account, block me on all social medias.
What?
And I was stuck with the operating expenses of the business and my lifestyle expenses in LA. I rose out of the ashes and became the person that I am now.
What you could advise to someone who is dealing with those adversity? How do you deal with it in the moment? How are you able to continue without giving up?
Chop your hand off.
No. This is one of the most like scrappiest podcast setups, but one of the best discussions. People watching this, I hope you guys don't click off the video just because of the setup, because honestly, this is one of the most interesting conversations. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for returning back to this channel, a podcast where we talk about business, self-improvement, and happiness. Today, we have none other than Jordan Welch. As you can see, guys, today's episode is a bit on the go.
Yes.
It's like the Mahmoud show is on tour. We are now in Miami.
You're on a world tour.
On a world tour, you know, finding the best people around the world to put on the show. So really appreciate having you here.
Definitely.
It's a pleasure, it's an honor, and I'm looking forward to see where this episode goes. There's a lot we can talk about. If you guys don't know Jordan Welch, I'll let you do a quick intro about yourself. He's a YouTuber with around 1 million subscribers, very popular, has many viral videos that have broken the internet. And you can give a small intro for yourself.
Yeah, I'm just a man that's out here trying to reach my highest purpose. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, and I also been making YouTube videos since I was around 12 years old. And now I get to do both of those things for a career, so.
Nice. Since 12, you've been recording YouTube videos?
Yeah, I posted my first video around 2010, 2011.
What was it about?
Me and my friends, we just wanted to make comedy skits. So I took my mom's little point and shoot camera, and we just made these little stupid skits. I actually was like a superhero in this video.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
It was a skit though, huh?
It was just for fun, bro. No other reason, just because we wanted to do it.
Nice, yeah. But did that get any... The thing is, what stops most people from recording their first YouTube video is often the fear that they feel from what other people would say about them in school. You get me? Mm-hmm. Was that a challenge for you?
Well, at first, nobody knew about it. After doing videos for around a year, I had posted maybe like 20 videos on my channel.
As you were 12?
Yeah, just for fun again. And it's crazy because this actually made me quit YouTube. My friends at school saw the videos that I was posting, and they started sharing them around, and they started calling me by my name that I had on YouTube, which was I'm Just a Kid TV. And people were clowning on me every single day, so much so that I ended up deleting the whole channel. And it's one of my biggest regrets in life because I don't have any of those original videos anymore.
Damn. And that was like the little kid.
Yeah.
At least I'm sure he's so proud of you now though.
Absolutely.
If he saw you right now, he'd be like, no way, that's me. Can you imagine?
Absolutely. I think about that sometimes. You know, I try to honor my inner child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it must have felt really bad when you're walking on school and everyone's making fun of you.
Yeah, definitely. But that's part of my story, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes things like this in life, the biggest regrets, like your probably biggest regret that time was like, why did I start that channel? And sometimes what we think that's like the worst thing that happened to us was actually the best thing that happened to us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have no regrets, and I'm super glad I started when I did. And that wasn't the only channel I started. I mean, from the age of 12 until now, I started around 5 different YouTube channels until I found this one. And this one is the one that finally got some traction, so.
Damn. All right, Jordan. So we spoke a bit about your YouTube. Mm-hmm. What did you do after that? So, because a lot of you guys may have seen Jordan's videos where you've made videos with like the most successful entrepreneurs out there. Mm-hmm. And they were incredibly educational, informative. I learned a lot from them myself, and I appreciate it.
No problem.
But not many people know your story, your come up. People think that maybe you're just a YouTuber. They've never really seen that entrepreneurial side of you. And that side is so vast. You're like a serial entrepreneur at this point. Talk to us the journey through your were you raised poor or were you raised like middle class?
Well, I don't like the term poor because that means that you have no hope and anything left in life.
So
But we
yeah,
were
shout out
broke.
to poor, yeah.
We were broke. We didn't have that much money. I mean, my dad wasn't really around, so it was me, my mom, and my sister, and she
Yeah.
had to take care of the both of us. And as a result, we didn't have that much money. And for many years, we didn't even have a house of our own. You know, once we did finally get our first house, we only lived there for a year until the house ended up going into foreclosure, and I had to actually move away. And I actually had to leave my mom for a couple years and move 3 hours away to a different city to live with my stepdad. And that was when I started making videos, like I told you. I stayed there for around 4 years, started a bunch of YouTube channels, just doing it for fun. When I came home, back to being with my mom, going into high school, I wanted to use the money I made from doing these little YouTube videos, from doing little side jobs, editing videos for people, to start my own business.
Yeah.
And in high school, I started around 5 different businesses that all kind of failed. Had a clothing brand.
Nice.
I resold sneakers.
How old were you at this time?
14. I was
14.
in high school. So
I resold sneakers exactly when I was 14 as well.
nice. And how'd you do?
I had like an Instagram page.
Uh-huh.
So I'd like, I didn't know how to make a website or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
So I had like a small Instagram store, and it was like basically just post like close-up photos of the product. And then they were all like basically Yeezys. I probably use the same thing. And I used to wait in the lines as well. So I used to wait like 6 hours in the line, get the drop, and then flip it the next day, you know?
Yeah, I was camping out too. And I used to sell them on Facebook primarily. I would sell them on the local Facebook group that we had in our city, which I actually created. And this allowed me to build a reputation for myself within my city, which is what led me to hosting a sneaker convention in our city. I stacked up around $1,000 from flipping shoes, and I had used that money to actually rent out the largest convention center in my city. And I hosted a sneaker convention where people could come and buy, sell, and trade their shoes. And I was 16 years old at this time. And it was funny because I remember going into the sneaker convention or the convention center with my mom, and I told the guy, I was like, I want to rent this place. And he kind of like laughed at me. And I was like, my mom looked at him and she's like, no, he's serious. And she helped me sign the papers. We put the deposit, and I marketed this thing everywhere. I put flyers all through the city, posting all over Facebook.
Was it expensive to rent out the whole thing?
Yeah, it cost me almost $2,000. So I put all my $1,000 as the deposit. I had got a business partner to help me pay for the rest of it, and I made it happen. And on the day of the event, I sold out all the tickets. I had like 200 people there. The news press came and they interviewed me. Wow. And it was on that day that I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur for the rest of my life. But that day started out really high and eventually came crashing down because when I came home, I had this giant stack of cash from all these tickets that I sold, right? Like I'm talking like a fat future, hold it up to your ear type of stack of cash. And when I started counting the money off and I had to pay back my business partner, and I had to pay the event expenses, and I had to pay the DJ, and then I had to pay everybody, I was left with $100 bill.
What?
And I remember sitting on the couch next to my mom, and I just started like crying because I was so upset. I was so sad because I had put all this effort in. I put all my money in. I went all in on this project, and it amounted to nothing, or so I thought at that period of my life.
Damn.
And that was really like a major day and a major turning point in my life, but it hurt so much that I took a break from entrepreneurship for a little while. So I started hustling. I did like tech support jobs for people. I made wedding videos and music videos. And by the time
you just wanted a guaranteed check. Because I guess because of that part, you do the service, get the check, guaranteed.
Yeah, but I wasn't really making serious money from that. What I was saying is that by the time I graduated high school, my friends that had jobs at fast food restaurants and grocery stores had more money than me. And I was supposed to be Mr. CEO, businessman. So, when I graduated high school, I was broke,
How old were you at that time?
I was 18. And at that time, everybody started enrolling into college. So naturally, I had no money. And I decided I was going to go to college.
Were you a good student?
I was like a C-level student because, as you heard, the entire time through high school, I was trying to start my own business.
You didn't have time to study.
Yeah. And in the summer, before I went to college, my mom was like, bro, I know you want to do this business thing, but you got to get some money. So she actually made me get a job. And it's the only job I ever had in my life. And the job lasted for a week.
Where was it?
I was a busboy. So that means I cleaned tables. I picked up after people. I washed dishes. I carried food. And I worked at that job for a week because on the 6th day of working that job, I was there. And it's funny, I had this whole uniform, like this black uniform and these non-slip shoes. I had to spend my last $100 to get this uniform, to buy the shoes, to buy the whole outfit. And
but they don't give you the outfit? You have to buy it?
I had to buy a black shirt.
Oh, the shirt, the
I
clothes.
had to buy black jeans, and I had to buy the non-slip shoes, which took all the money that I had left over. And the job was all right. Wasn't the worst job in the world. But on the 6th day of working there, I was carrying a tray with wine glasses. I had like 9 wine glasses.
No.
And bro, I dropped the whole tray and I spilled it on one of the servers and they shattered. And it was like one of those moments in a movie where like time just stops and everybody's looking at you in the restaurant.
9 wine glasses.
I shattered them all. And I just remember that day, you know? It hurt. I was so embarrassed. It was probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my entire life. And I remember getting in my car. Actually, it wasn't even my car.
You got fired?
No, I didn't get fired. But I got in my car, which was my mom's beat up old car that I used to drive to work. And I just remember sitting in that car, looking at myself covered in wine, smelling terrible with these dirty shoes. And I'm like, what happened to you? Like, you were supposed to be the kid that was going to make it. And now you're out here carrying glasses. And it was on that day that I made a promise to myself that I was never going to work another job. And I never went back. I just resigned from the job. And I actually never contacted my manager either, which if he's watching any of my videos, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to, you know?
Bro, at least pay for the cups now. Now you give them like gold cups.
Gold nah, I'm good, bro. They're chilling. But yeah.
Damn, bro. Honestly, your life is kind of like a movie, bro. I didn't know it was this intense. I feel like this is going to be very interesting. So you said that sneaker selling was one of the 5 businesses you were doing at the time when you were like 13, 14. What are the other businesses?
Well, like I said, I had the little like video business. So I was doing wedding videos and music videos. I was doing tech support. Yeah. And really just hustling more than anything else. I was just
anyone wants you give it to them.
I was just trying to make money in any way possible without having a job. I would flip stuff from the thrift store on Craigslist. If you could think of a side hustle, I've probably tried it.
Damn. Did you like mow lawns?
Nah, I didn't mow lawns. I tried to do stuff off the internet. I tried to do whatever I could from the internet because that was my strength. I was never super athletic or like I was never super like physically like inclined. So
you don't want to do labor intensive things.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my strength, and I really tried to stick with that.
Nice. I'd suggest that as well for anyone outside watching this. If you're gonna do something, just try to do the more side hustles that are like online based, just because you're learning skills that's like online, like. How big can a lawn mowing business go? But you know, like if you have like a marketplace and stuff like that, shit can transcend into like something serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So online stuff is always better.
Yeah, and the also internet changed my life.
Yeah, and the barrier of entry for online, I guess, is a bit harder because you have to like learn at least how to use a computer and stuff. Whereas like literally anyone in the world could probably mow a lawn. You know what I mean?
I would argue that it's easier because. What if I don't have a lawnmower, but I had a library with computers with free internet? No, but you can wash
cars, you know what I mean?
Yes,
it's harder to get a laptop with free internet and Wi-Fi than wash a car.
Yes.
It's like using a cloth.
I'm blessed to have been born in America where these things are common, but in many other countries, it's actually very rare to have a laptop and have Wi-Fi, so I don't take that for granted. And I hear what you're saying. You can go and do physical labor almost anywhere and get some money for it.
Yeah, like cleaning and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But bro, I didn't know your life was this crazy, man.
Well, we didn't even get into it yet, but that's really how I got started in this whole game. And that's how I began as an entrepreneur. It was really just from seeing the struggles that my mom had growing up and making this internal decision that I didn't want to live that life. Yeah. And just hustling, bro, since I was a kid. But it wasn't like a straight up climb to the top. There were many downfalls that came after my high school time.
Yeah, I can kind of see where that comes from. And that's why I respect you so much, man. Because I see the struggle, you know. It was not easy. Shit didn't happen overnight.
No.
It's like a long struggle. Yeah. So anyways, I can just imagine. I'm just picturing that scene. Like if you like drop the whole 9 glasses.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
And it's like your first job. So you're like, shit, I can't even do the job. Can't even do the job right.
I felt like a failure, bro. That's what I mean. When I got in that car that night, I felt like a failure.
Damn. I think, honestly, bro, when it comes to like, and I had a similar moment like this one time. I was like doing a big sales call. This is embarrassing. I never said this online, but because you're sharing, I'll share as well. I had one really important sales call one time. And the timing was set. And I had some errands I had to do before that. I had to drop one of my employees. I dropped him off because like I didn't want to like get him transferred. I kind of like it's not that viable, you know, financially. So I was like, I'll drop him. And I went to drop him, and I had this call which I couldn't miss. But because I was doing so much work before that, and you know, sometimes when you're in your flow state, you know, when you're deep work, you often forget about everything. So I had not realized, but I had not taken a piss in like a couple of hours, man. And by the time I went to drop him, you can just see where it's going. By the time I went to drop him, by the time we were about to reach, bro, it was just getting so urgent, and I had the call. So I could not even, the thing is the call is like video call. So I can be in my car, but I can't be like in a public bathroom. And there were no public bathrooms around. I'm dropping at like a station, you know? So you can match like side of the road, bus station, where am I gonna piss? And it's Dubai, I can't just like, you know, I don't know, maybe
Can't
here.
do it on the street.
Yeah, maybe here they just go on the side of the road. I don't know, but like.
They'll chop your hand off in Dubai.
no,
That's what they say, you know?
No, they will, because you said this now, they might.
Oh, no.
I'm joking. No, that doesn't happen. It's a misconception. But yeah, like obviously the reason why Dubai is so clean is because they have very strict rules. So
Yes.
when it comes to like, so I had the call and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I took like this, I was telling my employee, I was like, bro, like this is the situation. I was like, I really need to pee and I have this thing, this call. He's like, bro, you know, I have this bottle. So I was like, okay, let me try. But because it was so urgent, bro, like I tried to use the bottle and it didn't work out. Basically, I don't want to go too much into the.
I think it's up for interpretation at that point.
I what happened in the end was I was covered in my own piss, literally full covered in front of my employee when I went back inside the car because he obviously stayed in the car while I went to do my business. Went back inside the car and I'm literally covered and I'm wearing beige pants. So I'm like covered in my own piss. I sat in the car in my own piss to do the call. And the worst thing is that call went terribly. Like,
of course it did. You were all frantic and all over the place. So.
Yeah. But no, it was not really my fault. The thing is, it was more like I was trying to like, I was brokering a deal. And so the client had to speak to the influencer because I have an influencer marketing agency. And basically that influencer just happened to be very rude that day. So the client messaged me mid-call and said, this influencer's out. Imagine you're sitting in your own piss and the whole point of all that just didn't work out. And I had that same thing in the car. And then the worst thing is I had to go home. And when I went home, my parents were in the kitchen and I walked past them and they just looked at me and I was covered in my own piss. But low key, there was a small part of me because at that point I was still like doing well in life. So I was showing them, I was like, look, I go the whole length, you know, like
it shows your determination.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not so embarrassed of the story and I'm saying it because it showed that I was like, I was giving everything in my life, you know, I was able to you know, when you're so obsessed or so deep into work that you can't even remember to pee, you know, it happens to you, I think it's so
That's what it takes sometimes. Sometimes we just get so locked in.
Yeah. But tell us more, man. This is getting so interesting. So, you went to start university.
Yeah. So after I quit that job, I was in the summer. I had no money and I had no business that was making me money. So I figured, why not go to college? I couldn't afford to go to college. My mom couldn't afford it, and I didn't get any scholarships because I wasn't that good of a student. So I had to take out $25,000 in student loans, and I went to the only college that accepted me, which was my local college in my city. And I went there for around a year. I couldn't afford any food in college. I was living off of a food stamps card. You know what food stamps are? I was living off of the food stamps card, and that was it. They gave me like $200 a month. So I was just living in a dorm room, my food stamps card, just again, feeling like what happened to my life. Like I had so much momentum as a high schooler and then everything just completely came crashing down. And once I finished my first year of college, I was really at a mental low point. Like, what's next for me? What am I supposed to do after this? And then I had an opportunity that changed my life forever. I got a refund of $2,000 from the student loans that I didn't end up using. So I said, I'm gonna take this money. And while all my friends are using this money to get new clothes and go travel and put down payment on a Honda Civic, I'm going to take this money and I'm going to flip it into the business that is going to set me free from the shackles of college.
For life.
And that's what I became obsessed with for the summer after college.
Damn.
And that summer was when I actually started, that's when I actually discovered e-commerce and Shopify. And I literally would spend every single night, staying up till 2 a.m, just studying, watching different videos, looking around Facebook groups, trying to absorb as much information as I can. And when I found out about dropshipping, I felt like it was the perfect business model for me because I knew how to make websites. I knew how to create videos. I knew a little bit about marketing. And I was like, I know I can make this work. Yeah. So I worked every single day. And in May of 2017, I launched my first advertisements. And literally the next day after, I made my first sale and I never looked back and I never stopped working on it after that.
Damn.
Yeah. But that journey wasn't a high rise either. I mean, I had some big collapses there. Like, even though I got my first sale on day one, within the next month, I ended up spending all the budget that I had, all the $2,000 I had on ads, trying to learn how to do Facebook ads. And I was back to zero once again, but I had learned now a lot about Facebook. And I had tested around 10 different products in my store. And on the 11th product, I had this one that I knew was gonna work. I really had high confidence in this product, but I had no more money left to test it. So I asked my best friend at the time, his name is Zach. I asked him if I could borrow. Shout out to Zach, man. Come on. He already knows. I asked him to borrow some money. He was working at Best Buy. He didn't even really have that much money, but he let me borrow $500 to keep trying to run my business. And that product ended up being the product that allowed me to become a full-time entrepreneur, because in the first week, I made over $1,000 in profit. And by the end of the month, I had made over $3,000 in profit.
Wow.
And that was the moment where everything clicked and the business finally started moving in the right direction.
Damn.
It was literally at the very end. It was at the very bottom where I had my rise, you know?
Yeah. Damn. I want to talk about that thing that you said when you had that first $2,000 that you got the refund from.
Mm-hmm.
Where exactly that $2,000 go? Because maybe there's someone watching this video, maybe they don't have much money, but they have like $2,000. They have maybe $1,000, which they, saved up over a lot of time. Where would you suggest they put that, and where did you put that?
I invested it entirely into trying to build this business. More than anything, it was just Facebook ads. And I wanted to learn Facebook ads because the truth is, if you know how to run paid advertisements, you could sell literally anything. But to learn that skill, you have to spend money. You have to get in the game. So I spent all of that money experimenting with Facebook ads and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. I can't speak to what everybody should do with their money, but what I did was investing it into myself, into this business and this skill that I wanted to learn. And that skill is what set me free. It allowed me to take the business that year to over $100,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I had went from the first $1,000 week in profit, then the $1,000 in a month from that one. The next month after, we did over $50,000 in sales. That was September of 2017. And then the month after, we had did over $100,000 a month. And I moved out of my mom's. I moved into an apartment with my friends. I dropped out of college. And by the end of 2017, not only was I living on my own with my friends and having money coming in, but I was out of college and I had a business that was finally making me some money. And at the start of that year, I was literally living off of food stamps. I was dead broke. 19.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you started the year you're on food stamps. The same year you're making $100,000 a month.
Yes.
In your own place, with your friends.
Yes, exactly,
uni.
bro.
Damn.
That was really the turning point year for me. And things started to click around that time. But after that, I made a massive mistake. And I almost lost all the money in the following year.
Bro, it's so many ups and downs, man.
Such is the journey of an entrepreneur, you know?
Right.
It's not always a clean ride to the top.
Yeah, but I don't think it's always like they go back to square one, like as like you say, kind of like always like ends up pretty low. Like maybe they lose like 10%, 20%.
Yeah. Well, I never had a guide. I mean, growing up, my mom made $19,000 a year. My dad was never really around. Nobody in my family was an entrepreneur. I didn't know any entrepreneurs. I didn't know what I thought was rich growing up was my friends' parents that made $100,000 a year. So maybe I could have avoided some of these mistakes in my career, but at the end of the day, like I had to learn the hard way. I didn't have the mentor uncle that was worth, $100 million, and nothing against anybody who has that situation, but this was my life and this is the way that I had to learn. But
and I'm not saying it in a way that's like against you. I'm just saying like it's crazy that it's your misfortune. I can say at the time was so bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it wasn't anything except for my own personal decisions that brought these actions. So at the end of 2017, I had stacked up my first $100,000 in cash, and I felt like I was actually rich at that point in time. And I remember looking at that money and saying, okay.
$100,000.
Yes, I remember looking at that money and saying, wow, bro, like you made it, because I never heard of that money in my life. I thought if you had $100,000, that was like $1 million in my mind at the time.
As a 19-year-old.
Of course. Crazy. And I said, I'm ready to level up. So instead of staying in my hometown, I want to move somewhere. And I decided to move to Los Angeles.
Nice.
And that ended up being one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my entire life.
Damn.
Because when I moved to Los Angeles, my ego went to the roof. I rented this super luxurious apartment with the Hollywood sign view. I leased a brand new car. I started smoking every day. I started partying. I started drinking.
Your life is good.
Life is good, bro. I started living like I was a multimillionaire. And I stopped drop shipping because I started making money from coaching, and the coaching business was more profitable with less work. Yeah. So I stopped the thing that got me where I was in the first place. And here I was making money from coaching, and I was living this crazy lifestyle in LA. And by the end of 2018, I ended up with way less than I started with. I ended 2018 with like $30,000 to my name.
Damn.
I didn't go up, I went down.
Yeah.
And my coaching business was slowing down a little bit. I had no more dropshipping store. And 2018 to 2019 was really like, oh shit, we gotta figure something else out, you know? And that's what led me to start my next business, which was Viral Vault, which is the business that I still run to this day. But that's a whole story in and of itself.
Right, but I think it happens to a lot of people, and I see that same situation a lot where like some people might just decide to do coaching instead of like running their own business. And I often sometimes think, is that just because like, obviously I know that sometimes it's very fulfilling to do coaching and stuff, but I feel like way too many people do it. They don't even have the right, like they haven't even been through it much, you know what I mean? And it's so much easier just to do coaching than to like because anyone can just give you advice, you know what I mean? Yeah,
it's quicker money.
Quick money, yeah.
But, you know, it's up to the people. I mean, some of the richest people I know do coaching and consulting. So I have nothing against that business model.
Yeah,
the only thing I have against that business model is if you haven't actually had any success
That's the thing,
in the business.
You know what I mean? Or like if some people, it's quick money and they see it as like, you know, all it takes sometimes nowadays is like a nice card they release for like a day, take a bunch of photos, you know, maybe a fake watch, and then done. Boom, coach.
Yeah, but I think those days are slowly coming to an end. I think consumers are starting to get much more aware of the fake guru scene. And I think it's starting to slowly slip away. I don't think it's as easy as it once was for people to just pop up here and sell these scammy little products. But it still happens every single day.
Yeah.
But the real will always prosper and the fake will wither away.
Damn. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you drink?
Yeah, sometimes. But I don't get drunk. I don't like being drunk.
Just like a bit?
I like a glass of wine.
Okay.
I'm like the slowest drinker of the bunch. I might sip one glass for the whole night.
Yeah, but does a glass of wine usually make you like a bit tipsy or like a bit, or?
Nah, I don't like feeling like high or drunk. Like I don't like being like
out of control.
Yeah,
me too.
But don't get me wrong. I used to smoke weed every single day. I used to party and drink alcohol like none other. I've tried all different types of stuff. But at this stage of my life, I like being in a sober state of mind. But don't get me wrong. You know, I tear up some wine. I do like wine, yeah.
But you like to be in control of your senses and stuff. Definitely. Me too, man. Like,
and bro, I'm starting to get a little older now. You know, when I drink, the next morning I feel it more. You know, for real.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the goal is not to have a life that you keep needing to escape from using this kind of stuff. It's to build a life that you never want to escape from. You always want to be living it, you know, because you've built such a good life for yourself. Such a fulfilling and peaceful one.
Definitely. I used to be high every day. I used to smoke weed from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed.
Was that in the LA times when you were in LA?
That was from 2017 until 2020. Like, yeah, so when I first started making some money, and then the whole time throughout LA, I was a daily smoker.
Damn.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about LA then. Now you're at the point in your life, okay, you were very broke, food stamps.
Yes.
In the same year, you started making crazy money from your Shopify company.
Yes.
Which was selling what product, by the way?
Well, it was a general store,
okay,
which means we sold a variety of products. But some of my most successful products was actually a knife sharpener. And then we had a product that was like a sand blaster that removes rust from products.
Wow.
And then I had sold like this ocarina, this musical instrument from The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, very niche random products that you can only find in your store.
Well, the ocarina was like the first one, and it was too niche, and that's why I could never scale it. And then when I started scaling was when I found these products that were a little more broad, like the knife sharpener, like everybody has knives, and the sand blaster. All these men have like rusty cars or different things they want to clean off. So those were the main products that I sold that year, and that was how I got to 100K a month.
Damn, nice. Yeah, but I'd say that even though despite the product being able to be used by a majority of people, selling it is like you're probably one of the few people who are selling it, not that many. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's nice that the thing you did, what was it? Like the guitar?
It's like a flute almost.
Flute.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, they say niches bring riches, you know? So
yeah, but really finding products that you can sell to everybody, I feel like is where the real money is at.
Right.
But you can make great money in a niche.
In the beginning, you know?
And in the beginning, it's better to start in a niche because there's less competition. You can really understand your target market. But if you really want to scale, being able to appeal to the masses of the world is how you really take it to the next level.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Content's the same way.
Right. That's why I tell people, like, some people make content in different languages. And I tell them, like, do English just because it's better sometimes. It's better actually all the time to have a small piece of a big pie than a big piece of a small pie, you know? That small piece can get bigger, you know, but you'll be capped out very quickly if you're in a small niche. But yeah, like even Tesla, I think you know how they did it with they had the Roadster.
Started with the supercar and worked their way up to now selling to everybody.
Everybody, exactly. They built their brand up, you know. So you were saying, LA, you reached this point, and this point in the journey where you've had the rise, and you're in LA, you're living like a multimillionaire, smoking weed every day. Talk to us about at this point in your journey. Life seems good. You think life is, you know, maybe this is the life.
Yes.
You're like, this is it, I made it.
Yes.
So talk to us about how this transcends, and was this the moment that you've been waiting for? Was this the end of your struggles, or where do you go from here?
When I was broke, I thought that when I had stacked up some money, I could resort back to these bad habits like playing video games and smoking and just chilling like I'm retired. And that is what led to my downfall in 2018, is because I neglected the habits and the business that got me to the level to even be able to do those things.
Yeah.
So that really was the mode that I was in. And at the end of 2018, I was in a much worse financial situation than I was when I started that year. And that's what led me to launch my software business, Viral Vault, because I figured I need to launch something new to get me out of this situation. And in the first week, the business actually did pretty good numbers. I launched it to my audience on YouTube, because like I said, I had started doing YouTube back then. Yeah. And I was able to make around $10,000 in the first week. And within 6 months, I grew it to being a 6-figure business. So I started to get back on my feet a little bit more.
Yeah.
Though, again, things kind of took a turn for the worst, as you see, as this is a trend in my story.
Yeah.
The business partner that I was working with at the time, we had come to an agreement that we were going to use all the profits we made and reinvest that to build an upgraded version of our app. We had stacked up around $30,000 in profit. And what had happened was my business partner and I had a big disagreement. And his response to it was to take out all the money from the bank account, transfer it to his personal account, block me on all social medias.
What?
And I was stuck with the operating expenses of the business and my lifestyle expenses in LA. And I had to use my savings to keep that going.
Damn.
Yeah. And that was really what led me to the lowest moment in my life, because now I have $20,000 to my name, or even a little bit less. And I have around $5,000 a month in expenses for this business and almost $10,000 a month in lifestyle expenses living in LA. And bro, it got so bad. I mean, I had to go to Wells Fargo, get a line of credit, like $10,000 line of credit. I maxed out all my American Express cards to the point where they charged off and canceled my accounts. Like, I was down bad. Tremendously. And bro, it reached a point, and I have a screenshot on my phone where in my Wells Fargo account in 2020, like January, I had less than $100. In one of my accounts, I had negative $3.99. And I'm in this nice ass apartment in LA. I got this leased Lexus with 1,000 miles on it, whatever. And I'm like, nah, okay, it's done. I need to get out of here. I need to go back home. I can't live here anymore. I can't keep putting myself in more debt trying to make this shit work. I need to cut off all these expenses. I need to move back home to my mom's house. And I did. I left
your mom's house.
I left my fancy apartment and I went back to living on the couch at my mom's house at the age of 22. Yeah, 22.
On the mom's couch.
On the mom's couch. And I was, again...
No, you didn't have your own bed.
No, on the couch, bro. And again, I was supposed to be... Because remember, we didn't really have a big house, bro. We got 1 bedroom for my little brother, 1 bedroom for my mom, and I was sleeping on the couch. But you know what happened? I expected to go back home to sadness, and I was going to be upset that I failed and all these things. On the day that I came home from LA, I had a suitcase and a backpack. I left all my furniture there. I just dipped. And... when I got home, my mom had my 10 closest friends and family members waiting to surprise me. Everybody had a sign that said, welcome home. Everybody gave me hugs and my friends was dapping me up. And in that moment, it made me realize that even though I had failed, I had so many people that were rooting for me. Yeah. And I had so many things to be grateful for that it actually allowed me to forgive myself for these mistakes that I made in my journey. Damn. And now I'm back in the same office that I started all this in. And this gave me that same fire that I had back when I was that kid in college.
You were like in your home stadium.
Exactly. I had a home court advantage. And I had all these skills that I had learned over this last couple of years as opposed to when I was first getting started where I knew nothing. So I cut out all the bad habits. I went back to my roots and started another dropshipping store.
With all the new learnings.
Exactly. And I had these skills that I developed with marketing, with dropshipping, with sales.
SaaS.
And I just went as hard as I've ever gone in my life. I literally just took this store and built it and worked on it every single night.
So at this point, weren't you doing the Shopify? The software, sorry?
It was done, bro. It was not doing good. Remember I told you how I had the situation with my business
partner.
partner.
You closed the software company at that point.
It wasn't closed, but it wasn't making money, and I was still having to pay for my team. So I still had my team, but that business was losing money every single month. It was losing me a couple $100, almost more than $2,000 a month, just to keep the business up and running.
But you just kept it running and sorted it with the Shopify.
The Shopify business is what got me back on my feet, because when I was at my mom's house and I started this business again, within the first 20 days of owning this store, I got it past $10,000 in profit.
Wow. Which product was it?
It's the product that I built this whole brand off of and eventually was able to sell. It's called the Sleep Band. Essentially, it's this headphones that you wear at night to go to sleep. It has a sleep mask and it has super thin headphones, like this thin, that are on your ears. So you can like lay on the side. So people cover their eyes and they can listen to white noise, podcast, music. And I thought it was a great product. And the reason why is because everybody in my family snores and we got a really small house. So I remember I was sleeping on the couch and every single night it was like a freaking symphony of snoring. And I was like, I need to find something that can actually help me with this. And I looked up on Amazon and I saw that they had this sleep headphones product. And when I did some more research, I saw that there was only one company that was doing this on Facebook ads, and their ads were shit.
Damn,
so I said,
you had the whole market.
I said, yo, if I can take this product, which I know is a banger product, and make better content for it, I can make this product work. And I did. And as you can see, I was able to flip my whole life around with that product. I moved out of my mom's with that money to my own apartment in Miami. And literally by the end of that year of 2020, this business was generating me over $100,000 a month. And I had started YouTube again. I started documenting this whole entire journey.
Nice.
There's even a video I made after those first 20 days of building that store, talking about how I got it to $10,000 in profit. So This whole journey has been documented on my channel. I even have a video called "It's Time to Leave LA," where you can see me when I'm at like that moment where I was really like down bad, you know? There's a video. I'm at this really nice house in Malibu. We had rented the house in Malibu, and I have no money. I have $100 to my name, and on the external, it doesn't look like it because I got this beautiful house that I'm at, but I was fucked up. And by the end of that year, I was back on my feet again.
Damn. Did you say that in the video? Like, were you?
I was embarrassed back then. I wasn't as transparent about it as I am now because I was embarrassed. But now I share this fully authentically because I know that there's somebody out there that's watching this that might be in a predicament like I was. And I hope that this can serve as some inspiration to them because I rose out of the ashes and became the person that I am now.
Wow. Honestly, it's really, really interesting, man. I feel like this is one of the most interesting stories that I've heard in terms of, because the story just keeps going, like, you keep thinking like, okay, now everything is good.
Yeah.
Like, and then again it hits you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, but it's extremely interesting to hear about, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, brother.
For where you've come now.
Thank you.
It's very inspiring. And let's continue. You're in your mom's place. So where were you actually staying? So where are you staying? Where's your mom's house? Like what state is that?
It's in North Fort Myers, Florida. It's like a smaller city in Florida. It's not too fancy, but it's not like the complete slums, you know. Okay. But it's definitely our house was like 1,000 square foot house, 1,500 square feet. Like we literally have 2 bedrooms in the house, and it ain't nothing crazy, but it's a house full of love. And being back in that house gave me that feeling again. Being in this empty ass dark LA apartment surrounded by a bunch of fake people was taking away all the love and energy that I had inside of me. But being back at my mom's house and being surrounded by my people again brought me back to realizing who I actually am and allowed me to get in my bag again.
There's a lot of people that say like LA like sucks out all your energy and it's like really draining the city, and the people are really like just looking for like, you know, it's all about like who you are, you know, like your numbers and shit.
It's true, but don't get me wrong. I met some of my best friends that I still know to this day in Los Angeles. But I also met some slime balls over there too. Yeah. So
like your business partner from the software.
Yeah.
He just left you with nothing but expenses.
Bro did me dirty, man. But I don't want to give him no more moments in this video. So
yeah.
Damn.
Anyway, so And I find it very interesting how your mom took you coming back home, and that's the pure like sentiment of like, you know, mom's love for their son. You know what I mean? Like the fact that she had all your friends. You know, like in that moment, imagine if she was like a bit like, if she showed you any bad feelings or like showed you any like that she was like disappointed, it would have tremendously broken you. You know what I mean?
Well,
But
I think
she did exactly the opposite. You know,
she knew who I was even when I didn't know who I was.
exactly. She believed in you.
Yes, and she reminded me of who I was.
Because she saw when you were a kid and you booked out the whole thing at 16. So she knows that this is no ordinary kid
No,
that she was dealing
and
with.
she was there and still is there the whole entire journey. And I think a big reason of my success today is the support of my mom. And she always told me that anything was possible and that I had the potential to do anything I ever desired. And that has a profound impact on a child.
Yeah, just believing that you can do it. Or having someone at least tell you or believe in you.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes when we don't realize how great our potential is when we're just living it or how much we've done. We never look back and see all the times. We focus on the negative. All the times we messed up and all the times that we, you know, didn't work out. Things that we planned didn't work out. We don't look at all the stuff that we did that shows how good we are or how much potential we have.
If you look at the negative stuff in your life, though, a lot of times that's where your most important lessons lie. And those situations are the ones that can allow you to get calibrated on the right path.
100%. The negative situations are the most important, but I'm saying your mindset towards them has to be from a place of not looking at them with like as like a complainer or like resent. You have to look at it like an opportunity for you to learn something, as you said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're just thinking about it as like, oh, woe is me, I'm effed up, I'm in this situation, my luck is bad, God hates me, you know what I mean? Or if you look at it like, okay, here's something that I can really, what can I learn from this? You know, what is life trying to teach me at this moment? You know, like we spoke about Marcus Aurelius and his book Meditations yesterday. Damn, that was yesterday. It's still been done so much. But yeah,
Long day. Good day though.
Yeah, so it was crazy that we spoke about him in his book. He says like everything that happens is the best for you at the time. He says it in one of the, I think in book 4 or something. He's like, what happened to you was the best situation. And if you think about life like that and the events, everything happens for a reason, and there's a silver lining in almost anything. There's like a quote that people say is, there's only blessings and blessings in disguise. You know, and I think,
Well said.
yeah. So anyways, let's get more into the journey now. So where are we at?
I just moved out of my mom's and I moved to my own place in Miami, and I got this store, Sleep Band, doing over 100,000 a month now, and I started doing YouTube again.
Yeah.
That was where I was at the end of 2020.
Okay.
And now, once again, I had momentum in my life.
Okay.
In the year of 2021 is where things really started to pop off for me. I posted a new YouTube video every single week. I grew this Shopify store to over $1 million in sales. And by the end of 2021, I racked up over 250,000 new subscribers. So I took my channel from 20,000 subscribers to over 250,000. And finally, for the first time in my life, I felt like I was standing on a solid foundation. I had money saved up. I had momentum. I got rid of these bad habits that were literally killing me. And I forgave myself for my past. And at the end of 2021, it was one of the first times where I ever felt like, okay, you are on solid ground now.
It's crazy, man. You know, honestly, this is one of the most like scrappiest podcast setups, but one of the best discussions I've had, you know? And maybe it's because it's like just so casual and just like we're sitting on a couch and stuff.
Yeah.
But I hope that people watching this, I hope you guys don't like click off the video just because of the setup, because honestly, this is one of the most interesting conversations.
It's not that bad. I mean,
it's nice actually. It's nice, yeah. But they don't know behind the scenes how much shit was going on.
Oh
here.
man, Ahmed pulled up to my house with a cell phone and a wallet, and he was like, "We got to
this.
Oh yeah, he pulled up with the car. Yeah,
I had my signboard. I was like, let's do it, man.
Yeah, but
and Jordan helped me with everything.
I got camera gear for days, so we set something up.
Yeah, and I want to talk now that we finished we've discussed broadly the journey. Just to end it off, I guess what ended up happening was you sold the Shopify business. Was that a purposeful why did you leave that? You just got a very good offer, or what is?
At the end of 2021, like I said, I was in a financial positive situation. My YouTube channel had grown and I reignited my passion for YouTube. If you remember, YouTube was one of the first things that I ever had pleasure from in my life when I was 12 years old. And now I have this channel that's growing and I have the opportunity to do this as a full-time career. So as much as I love Shopify and as grateful as I was for Shopify getting me to that level, I was ready to go all in on YouTube. This was my opportunity to become a YouTuber like I always wanted to be. So in 2022, I focused heavily on getting my Shopify store ready to be sold. At that point in time, I was able to grow the business to around $1.8 million in sales. I had a team that managed the whole thing and it was generating consistently like $1,000 to $2,000 a day. So I was like, I can sell this business. Somebody will want to buy this. And I got with a broker. They did a valuation of the business and they marketed it to their potential clients.
Where do you find this broker?
They're called website closers. I got recommended them from a friend, and you could work with any broker, but they did a great job and they got my business sold in under 6 months. I had a couple different meetings with potential buyers and eventually we found the guy who was interested in buying the business. And in August of 2022, I ended up closing the deal and selling the business. And it was a really special day. My sister, actually, she was a big part of helping me build this business. She was in my first ads. She actually did customer service. She was like a manager almost at my company.
Wow.
And the first thing I did once I got the money from selling the business was I took her and her daughters to Disney World and I bought her a brand new car.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a great experience. I bought my car that I always wanted, the M2 competition.
I saw it outside. It looks beautiful. It's
yeah,
a beast.
thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah, and I really just took the rest of the money and just put it in different investments and kept it in cash. And now I had the full flexibility to go all in on YouTube. And I ended 2022 with 500,000 new subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. So when Jordan sold the business, he was not able to, there was a term in the contract where he was not able to say the amount. So that's why we aren't saying the amount. But you guys can know it's a lot of money. It's very good money.
Yeah, it's not like a, I'm going to go retire in Turks and Caicos type of money.
But it's good money.
Yeah,
Sure. So talk to us though, whatever you can say about the process of selling the business. Because I think that's super interesting. Maybe people don't know, like, was there like a rigged negotiation? Who was the guy who bought it? I don't know if that's possible to say. Or what was the story there?
Selling the business is not the challenge. The challenge is building a product that is unique enough and building a business that somebody actually wants to acquire. So having systems in place, having a team, having a solid marketing system to get new customers. 2 people.
You and your sister?
Me, no, 2 other people than me.
Okay.
Me, my sister, and we had another girl that managed like operation and day-to-day stuff.
How old was your sister?
My sister is 35.
Damn, nice. Was this her part-time thing or?
Full-time.
Oh, she was like full-time working on this.
Full-time employee, yeah.
Nice, amazing. And that's great. How does it feel like, without getting too personal, working with family? Is that something that's a challenge or?
Well, my sister was actually quite easy to work with. There were some moments where, I had to be the boss and kind of be like, yo, we got to work a little harder. But ultimately, there were moments where it was challenging and there were moments where it was easy, which is the case with any employee, right? Yeah. But more than anything, it was an honor to be able to work with my sister because prior to that, my sister was working a shitty job, delivering pizzas, couldn't even afford an apartment of her own. And from working with me, she was able to get her own spot. She was able to work from home. She was able to spend more time with her daughters. So for me, it was a blessing to be able to provide that opportunity to her.
Yeah, I guess one of those things, like when it works, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't work, it can ruin everything,
Yeah, I've had that experience as well, but I will not get into that on this show today. But I've had the good and the bad of working with family members.
Yeah, I feel you. And it's also one of those things, but I feel like you're really good in the sense, like I've seen your kind of communication skills. So I feel like if you can, be a good communicator and stuff, you could probably make it work, And if both people are good and, level-headed.
Well, who can you trust more than family,
Exactly.
So sometimes that's not always the case, but your brothers, your sisters, your wife, those are the people that I trust with my money more than I would trust a stranger.
Blood is thicker than water, as you say, and that's why all the mafias, it's always the family business. If you want to look at back in the day, The Godfather or the Italian mafias or even Peaky Blinders. I don't know if you've seen it's always the family,
Most definitely.
And my business is kind of like that as well. I have my cousin who's employed, my first cousin. He's like a younger cousin. He also does all of the admin stuff, and the other 2 people are sisters. They're siblings. They're not related to me, but they're from my community. Like growing up, I know them my whole life. So it's always nice because exactly when it comes to trust.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Hire a freaking VA from the Philippines to manage your payroll and your
A
expenses?
lot of people
Like,
do that type of stuff, man.
I
It's quite
don't
common.
knock it, but I'm not letting a VA get into my bank account. It's gonna be
You
messed
know what I
up.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are very trusting with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, okay. Now that we kind of discussed the journey, I want to talk a bit about the advice you have. You know, obviously, it's extremely interesting to hear how you came up, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot of wisdom to be derived from that. But in terms of advice and stuff, what would you say you could advise to someone who is dealing with those adversities? I feel like when it comes to adversity, there's not many people who know more about it than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've been through all of it, bro. Like betrayals, food stamps, you know, jobs, everything. So talk to us a bit about dealing with adversity. How do you deal with it in the moment? How are you able to continue without giving up?
You just can't give up. That's the only thing I could say in those scenarios, because there were so many times in my life where I had everything telling me to give up. Times where I ran out of money, times where I went into debt,
Yeah.
times where I was depressed, times where I didn't see any way out. But I continued staying resilient and staying on the path. And it is because of that that I made it out of the other side of these challenges and became the person I am today. And when I look back on these challenges that I encountered, what I now understand is that those were trials that were building me up and teaching me the essential skills that I needed to know so that I could be this man that I am today. So I look back on them with a smile, and I hope that if somebody is in these trials right now, they can understand that this is just a part of their journey, and not to run from it, but run towards it and run through that shit.
Nice. Yeah.
You know?
Fear is your compass. Like whatever scares you, go towards that.
Unless it's like heroin or something. You probably shouldn't try heroin. That's probably a bad idea.
Very interesting. But
Yeah.
what I think stands out to me is just keep going to a sense where like you have to just really believe that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. If you just keep pushing, things will get better, you know?
Yeah.
So what does an average day in your life look like now? Because from what I've noticed, one thing I like about you is you're very disciplined. I've noticed that when you like go through your day, like just before this podcast, I was having some coffee. You're like, what's the time? Oh, it's too late now for the cup of coffee. So you live by like a set rule of principles, and you're very disciplined to that, you know? Tonight there's UFC, and a lot of people are gonna go out tonight. Maybe they're gonna go to a club, and you're like, no, I'm probably just gonna watch the fight, and that's it. You know, I don't like to go here and there. So what does an average day look like in your life? And later I'll talk about a bit about discipline and how you built that kind of rigidness.
I found that it changes, but at this current stage, I wake up in the morning, 7, 8. I don't use alarms anymore. I just wake up when my body is ready to wake up.
Really?
Yeah, and I found that it feels way better. I come downstairs. I love to
What
read.
time do you sleep then? Sorry.
I don't know. I don't have a bedtime anymore.
Around roughly?
I go to bed whenever, like midnight.
Midnight,
Yeah.
average?
11 p.m., midnight.
And by naturally you wake up by like around 7.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
I come downstairs. I like to read in the morning. It's just one of my favorite things to do. So I'll sit and read for like,
First thing you do.
20, 30 minutes.
Do you check your phone?
Yeah, but I'm not like scrolling, but I check my phone. You
As soon as you wake up?
I mean, you never know what happened last night. Somebody might have texted you, your dog might have died. You don't fucking know. So I check, see everything's good, put it back down. I don't use my phone in the morning,
Yeah.
but I definitely check it. Come downstairs, read, make some coffee, and honestly, I just check in on my team, get some work done. Let me be honest with you here, bro. I'm not a freaking Marine. I don't have like a checklist. Like I wake up and I do what feels right to me in a day.
Yeah.
So if I want to wake up and I want to read, cool. If I want to wake up and I got some shit I need to work on, I'm gonna go ahead and work
Cool,
on
yeah.
it. If I want to wake up and ride my bike for 2 hours, I go and do that. Like I do what I want and what feels right to me in that moment.
With
But
a very strict criteria of things that you, like strict principles that you won't do.
yeah,
Like for
exactly.
example, you won't go and smoke up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So it's like a lot of freedom in that principled kind of environment.
yes,
that
I
you
try.
set.
I just try to.
Because even the riding the bike, that could be seen as productive. It's not like you're like it's exercise, it's cardio,
100%.
it's good, and I think anything good for your mental health that like makes you happy, not dopamine happy, but like real happiness is good for career-wise because you can't do good work unless you feel good. So it's all about balance, right? So nothing too extreme.
Yeah.
Everything is about the right like balance, you know. And let's talk about discipline. You know, a lot of people think that discipline is limits your freedom, but actually the opposite is true. As we know,
I agree.
discipline is freedom. What's your thoughts on discipline and how have you been able to stick to these principles that you have now?
I just go off feeling, man.
Yeah.
Like, if I do bad shit, I feel bad. If I do good shit, I feel good.
Yeah.
If I am consuming low quality foods, low quality content, low quality conversations, I feel terrible. If I am doing physical activity, if I'm training in the gym, if I'm eating the right food, if I'm studying, if I'm working on a project that fulfills me, I feel like a god.
After though, because in the moment they feel very tough and they're very stressful and
Sometimes.
No, but like, you know, when you're really pushing yourself in the gym, you feel, the harder you go, the worse you'll feel.
Yes.
But like in a few hours, you'll feel like amazing.
Yes, 100%.
That's usually the thing with the things that are good for you. They're usually bad in the moment and good after. And the opposite, the things that are bad for you are very good in the moment, but very bad after.
Delayed gratification.
Delayed
brother.
gratification, exactly.
But also, delayed gratification is kind of a scam too, no? Because
Why?
all we have is the present moment in this lifetime. And if you're always looking for that later gratification, you might miss the beauty that's right in front of you today. I appreciate the idea of delayed gratification and I understand the point of it, but also try to find gratification in the present moment because there's nothing else.
That was the only thing we have. Everything else is an illusion. Damn, yeah. But I think like if you, there's even this thing I think about sometimes, which is like, and I'm trying to be sensitive when I say it, but you know when you think about the life of Kobe and the life that he lived and he was
Rest
always
in peace to the GOAT,
rest
man.
in peace to go. You know what I mean? But like he was always like so in his craft and stuff, which I'm sure that's what he wanted to do. But I'm sure eventually, you know, I think in his head, and I think there's times where he said it like at some point he'd probably want to like spend more time with his family or retire and stuff, you know. And life can happen anytime, you know what I mean? Because for me, I know personally that I value family time a lot, you know. And if I go through my whole life working on my craft and then I die before I like, even like this video of Cristiano Ronaldo, and I don't want to imitate him, but he's on Piers Morgan and he's like, he didn't see anything, and he's talking about his dad because his dad died before Cristiano was able to show him anything, because at that time he had not really made it to where he wanted to be, but so he was not obviously spending. That's why even me right now, before I went on the journey, I tried to give as much gifts as I could, because you don't know when's your time to, when people are gonna die around you. So whoever's around you today, you know, you may not be where you want to be in life, but give back and, you know, enjoy the moment.
Cherish the moments with the people that you have.
Yeah. Is that something that you were always doing, living in the moment, or is that something that you had to work on? Because for me, it didn't come naturally.
It's a daily practice. Nobody fully lives in the moment, or else they would be enlightened. And there's only been a few enlightened human beings of all time, and they were gods. So nobody fully lives in the moment. It's a daily practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. We talked a bit about Marcus Aurelius previously, and about books. What are your top 5 best books?
My top 5 best books.
You can say top 3 if that makes it easier.
In general, topic.
Yeah. No, for you.
For me,
They can
the
be-
book that really changed my life in regards to making money was called The Millionaire Fast Lane. That book was transformational for me. The book that changed my life in regards to having better habits and being on my purpose and becoming a better man, was called The Slight Edge.
Ooh, Slight Edge. I never heard of
And
these.
the book that taught me how to become great is called Mastery.
Wow. So those 3.
Those would be my 3 favorite books.
Damn, guys, you need to read all 3 of those.
No, you don't. Depends on your situation, depends on your circumstances. Books are not one size fits all either. I feel like find the book that speaks to your specific situation and read that book. Don't just read the book that I recommended or Luke Belmar recommended. Like, find the book that fits your situation and read that book, you know?
Yeah, I feel you. Can you describe the lessons that you learned from those books?
Oh, man.
Let's put a quick summary just so people can hear what it's about. The Millionaire Fast Lane, I've heard so much about it. I've never read any of those.
The Millionaire Fast Lane showed me that it was possible to make money on the internet, no matter who the hell you are.
Okay.
If you're broke or you're coming from something or nothing, you can make it happen. Mastery documents the greatest human being stories of all time, like Mozart and Leonardo da Vinci and these men that went on to become the greatest at their craft. And it just tells their stories. And The Slight Edge talks about the power of simple daily disciplines and the impact that can have on your life, and just understanding that greatness is not a stride, it's a simple, consistent daily action over a long period of time.
1% better every day.
That's the essence of that book. Yeah.
Nice, amazing. How do you measure and track your progress towards your goals?
I don't really.
Do you have like a habit tracker? That's like a
Nah.
practice that some people do.
I'm kind of like a chaotic, creative type person. I'm super unorganized. I just have these ideas. I go and I execute them, and then I move on to the next idea, and I just grow. I don't really do much like tracking and stuff like that. I just create.
I'm sure for your YouTube channel, you probably look into the data a lot, because I know YouTubers are very focused on their kind of like
Yeah, but I don't live
retention
by the data. Like I don't like.
analyze and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a data guy. I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not an analytics guy. I'm just a creative, bro.
I feel you. Your videos are very creative.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I like all the, you know, the creativity that goes into it, because for me that doesn't come naturally at all, you know?
Yeah.
So when I see it, it's like very Casey Neistat vibes and stuff, you know?
Shout out to Casey Neistat. Thank
He's
you.
the goat, yeah.
Yeah.
I learned so much from that guy, man. He used to make the most boring shit
Nah,
extraordinary.
it was never boring.
No,
Oh,
that's-
he made it extraordinary. Yeah.
A video about an Apple Watch, like something that
Yeah.
you might not think about, you know? Sunglasses. His sunglasses were like the I had sunglasses and I took a white ink and I made those sunglasses.
That's deep.
And I have a photo. Maybe if I find it, I'll put it up.
That's dope.
But yeah, he was like the one for me.
Yeah.
How do you handle criticism and feedback on your performance?
I don't really care.
Yeah, but so how do you get to that point where you don't care? Do you not read it, or do you read it in?
I mean,
Because I know some people, they just, like for example, Sebastian, I was talking to him, he puts stuff out and he doesn't really see what goes on online.
the thing for me is that I create what I want to create and I put it out to the world, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, right? So
Some of them stink.
exactly. And somebody gonna always say something good, and I love them for that. And somebody always gonna say something bad, and I love them for that. That's how they felt in that moment. I don't get impacted by negativity because I know that I'm putting out what I want to create and what I love. Now, if it's genuine criticism and feedback, I'll listen to it and I'll try to make my work better based on that. But I don't give a shit. And I don't actually get a lot of hate either. I'm not a very controversial figure. I don't get a lot of people DMing me hate and stuff like that. So I actually don't get a lot of hate.
Yeah, I wouldn't understand how anyone would hate you. It's just like you sharing your story. They see your whole progress from when you had, you know, when you didn't have much. And what was there to
People
say?
always gonna hate, you know, it's, oh, he's fake. Oh, he's
Yeah,
not-
but I mean, it doesn't. It can't go like. It's not like you're like doing pranks where you're like stealing people's car or like spitting on old people. Or something like that, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
hell no.
It's very wholesome content. It's just about making money, and your audience is also people who are mature and smart and on the journey. So it's a very like, that's why I love this niche, to be honest. That's my favorite thing about this niche, is that every time I meet someone, it's always like the most refreshing experience. You see like another
same.
young, you know what I mean?
Yes.
When you meet that young hustler and he comes up to you and he's like, your videos help me
Yes.
and I'm working on this, and they're so excited about it.
Yes.
Whereas like, because I've hung out with like all types of YouTubers, and some of them is like, yeah, I see your videos, they make me laugh, and like it's not nothing
Or they'll
against them.
come up to you and they'll say your joke that you said in the video, or your prank,
You know what?
your theme, your whatever. It's like, I'm grateful that we're known for helping young
You know what
men
I
and
mean?
women, yeah, on their
And
path.
reaching their best potential, which for me, there's no goal greater than that. There's no better thing that they can accomplish besides reaching their maximum potential. Like I'm sure like the number one thing that God would want from us would be to strive for to reach our potential, because He's given us all these blessings, all these talents. Everybody has a gift, and He's given you that gift. So for you not to utilize that is probably something that's disappointing to Him.
It's like the ultimate sin.
Yeah, right? The ultimate sin. Probably. Last question before we end this off. I know that we have to go tonight. It's going to be a long night, and I'm sorry for keeping you this late.
Sorry, bro.
What do you believe are the most important qualities and characteristics for success?
Self-confidence and resilience.
Self-confidence and resilience. Nice.
Because if you believe you can achieve anything and you don't allow yourself to get stopped along the journey, how could you lose?
No, you can't, unless you die. Like before you went.
And is death a loss?
No.
It's just the end of the journey. And as long as you stay true to yourself the whole time, it ain't a loss. So you can do that to live your fullest life, and you can do that to achieve whatever you want. And those would be the two principles that I think are absolutely necessary.
The second one was? The
Resilience.
Resilience. And the first one? Believing.
Self-confidence.
So, if you believe, you can achieve. I like that. That rhymes.
Yeah, well, if you
So-
believe and you don't do shit, you ain't gonna make no money. So you gotta show up and you gotta stay resilient no matter what happens. And the world is yours.
Nice. All right, amazing. Thank you so much for being here, guys. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, because his story was, I was not expecting that, to be honest. You know, the thing is sometimes, and I have nothing against people who made their money from crypto, but sometimes it's hard for other people to like kind of get that, or like it feels like the opportunity is missed. But with something that you did, something I really wish I did earlier in my life was e-com, and that's why
Early in your life, bro, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Come on, what are you talking about, bro?
But you know, you did it when you were like 13, bro. 14.
Chill, bro. You're fine. You are early in your life, bro. What are you saying?
I feel you. You know, but
Yeah.
that's the thing though. Like, it's
Early in
it's
your
very
life,
technical
it's fine.
and very like mundane. I feel like, and I was not able to like really like just sit down at the laptop and just like make websites. You know.
Well, don't do it. There's so many ways to make money
Yeah.
on the internet. Find what you like to do. And
I was
do
doing a
that shit.
podcast, and the influence agency is like we take celebrities like big thing. You know, and it's fun. When it's in the scene, and
Yeah.
it's I mean, no doubt, it's very stressful and shit. But
Well,
anyways,
keep it up, bro. Thanks for having me on
thank
the
you
show.
so much, brother. Look, honestly, check out Jordan on all his socials. Check out his channel. He makes really good videos. If you found this interesting, you'll find all those interesting as well. And yeah, take care. Leave a comment, like, subscribe.
Make sure to subscribe to this man. He's a great interviewer. He finds the
bro.
best guests. I don't know how he gets everybody on his show, but he does it. And he's got some crazy guests, much bigger than me, coming up
Yeah.
next. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to my boy. And that's all we got for now.
Peace.